Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Just as a quick, now that we know a little bit about these minds, let's dive into conversations, right? And just be relaxed and we just having conversations, okay? And to all, briefly, let's begin with a quick introduction from each of you by telling us briefly about your organizations and how your touch point with AI and artificial intelligence, actually digital transformations, is actually going on today. Let's start with the only lady by us here. Then we go further along. Mama, if you can give me just a second.
Sure.
And it's a last minute addition to our panel because we cannot be in Ghana talking about AI without really talking, having somebody that is revolutionizing AI perspective and AI framework within Ghana, right? As a host country, we welcome also Dr. Give me a second. Yeah, I gotta make sure I say the name right. Yeah, Dr. David King Boison. Boison. Okay. He's the founder and lead consultant at the Africa Project, who is actually leading one of the most ambitious AI capacity building initiatives in the continent. And he has to be a Ghanaian. Thank you and welcome, Doctor. So the question is, we're going to still continue, start with you and, finish with her. I'm going to repeat the questions. Let's begin with a quick introduction for each of you by telling us briefly your organizations and the touch point, your touch point with AI and Africa digital transformations.
Sure. Thank you. My name is Manahat Thomas, co-founder and CEO of Chronos. And how we're using AI right now is we're using AI to help us amplify uh, what teachers do best, right, in the education space. How do we completely curate information to specific user needs using AI? And that's kind of how we're using it. Um, right now, currently with Africa, we're ingesting a lot of national curriculums, both here in Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, and I think Rwanda is on the books right now. And the idea is there's a lot of AI right now, and with respect to Chat GPT, a lot of it is not Africa. It's not contextualized to the African use case, right? And the fact that we're ingesting a lot of cultural history classes, histories that are very unique to each country, allows for that knowledge base to be wider and more inclusive to the African realities. And, for ChatGPT to actually answer a little bit more about Mansa Musa or Queen of Sheba or, Nelson Mandela. So that's kind of our approach, and our end goal is to make education accessible to everybody despite their economic status, and also to meet them where they are, both from a developmental stage, from a language perspective, and also from an accessibility point, right? And we're also talking about people with learning disabilities, people with different types of preferences to learning. So we're using AI to help us amplify education and learning to foster true comprehension. That's how we're utilizing AI, and I hope that answers their question.
Invest in is obviously your skills. So if you think about, you have the best kitchen in the world, the best ingredients, the best tools. If some person off the street comes and bakes the cake versus a professional chef, which cake do you think will taste better? It's obviously the person who has the skills. And the only difference between the chef and the person who's coming off the street is that they are able to make small differences along the way, and those small differences add up. From the beginning to the cake being finalized. And it's the same thing in terms of, do you have the right people to take advantage of the data, of the tools at your disposal? So if we look at the kind of people that we hire, it's generally like actuaries and statisticians, mathematicians. We don't hire them because of their qualifications. We hire them under the assumption that they are problem solvers, that they can solve problems, that they can apply themselves critically. And that's very important. I think one of the best guys in our team, he doesn't actually, he comes from the mining world. He doesn't have the normal statistical background that the rest of us have, but he's probably one of the best data science we have in the team, because he actually seeks to understand and wants to know what he's doing. Because I think with AI, it can produce an answer very quickly, but you still need that human in the loop to make sure that the answer makes sense. And if the AI breaks, because if 99 times out of 100 it works, that's fine. But for that one time that it breaks, you need someone to come in and address it quickly. So I think if you cover those bases, then you actually cannot not succeed, if that makes sense.
Thank you. I think you have said everything. Okay, to me, just to add one or two words. For me, you have to think about to lay down a strong foundation. Lay down the strong foundation mean to me that okay, AI is all about computing. Computing requires high level of power. It also requires, high capacity of computation, GPU through NVIDIA, and then after that have the data and also all the regulation across the AI. By coming to that, you have to think about the amount of money that we need to invest to be able to have the capacity to implement the AI strongly in Africa. When we are looking for the amount of money NVIDIA or OpenAI is putting to build the data centers across 200 or 400 million USD, you cannot see one country in Africa to be able to go alone to be able to build this one from scratch. So I'm thinking about a regional capacity of buildings. So that means to me that okay, can you imagine that the UMWA or CDAO can decide for the AI to be able to put 2 or 3 data center, put the capacity together, make sure that all the policy of data have been properly stored so that people can access and treat it. And then in above, think about the regulation, think about all the things that we can put in terms of law to be able to push it, and look at the capacity building of a human being. We have to review all the course in the university and the school to see whether the people that today is going to use this computation to be able to impact all the economic are really ready for that. This is the way I would just want to add it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Sebastian. And for Emmanuel, I think I'm going to piggyback on one statement that I heard at the United Nations General Assembly that really pertained to the vision of OpenAI, for Africa. I will definitely want you to think really through these questions and give us really your opinion and also what is the general visions, in more detail. At the UN General Assembly, if you guys know, Strive Maisiwa actually said the future billionaires in Africa will be the AI expert. Again, this was said in the most important stage in the world at the UN General Assembly. Again, he said the future billionaire in Africa will be an AI expert, right? How do you make sure, as a representative noun for these most anticipated organizations that is trying to conquer, build all these new strategy to make sure that the message of the technology is in the hand of the youth, about the 400 million youth in Africa today and growing. Um, how do we make sure Africa youth are equipped, to be those expert in the open AI, strategy framework?
No, I think this is a very good question, right? And also known how inspirational Strive is and the work that he's doing with NVIDIA on building the first AI factory, really commend to him. I've actually had the chance to meet him in Kigali, super inspirational. But I also think one aspect that Strive frequently stresses is the once in a lifetime opportunity that we have in the time that we currently live in, right? So be it from the access that people have to different products beyond our company, but obviously me representing OpenAI to ChatGPT. So we have about 700 million weekly users, and the majority of it is actually for free, right? So that alone is an opportunity. But how do we ensure that the youth in Africa, even beyond, is equipped? I do believe it is a cross-sectoral and cross-industry aspect that needs to be answered collectively. Because look, from our aspect, we provide access to the technology mainly for free. We can sit in Ghana, you can pull up ChatGPT, you can pose questions, right? But how are we preparing the next generation to actually capitalize upon it? Yes, Strive spoke about the future billionaires, but let's keep it very basic for now. How do we equip the students, right? So I think this is a conversation that needs to be had with the ministries of education of countries. We have the OpenAI Academy because we are a small company still, right? We're a startup, so about 3,000 people. But we have the OpenAI Academy, which can be accessed globally, and people can actually learn how to use ChatGPT for business, for the government, etc. But my point is really being we provide access, but then again, there needs to be collaboration with educators. And we have obviously an education leader sitting among us, which is a great. And I do believe everybody carries the same responsibility. And I think this is a question that needs to be asked maybe through public-private partnerships, right? But to kind of pose or expect industry to solve all questions, I don't think industry was kind of built for this, right? I think the times that we live in with AI products, it also requires us to kind of rethink the social contract and the relation between industry, government, and the people. But how do we provide greater access to the tools, and how are we preparing the next generation or even people living right now on how to use these tools for their own benefit? So I think to really conclude your questions, I cannot answer it because I cannot foresee the future, right? But any technology brings disruption, but disruption can only benefit people when people are prepared with the disruption. Because we can talk about the nice things about how AI is doing this and that, but it will only be beneficial if people understand how to use it for their own benefits. And so our vision is to provide access to AI products the same way that people can access electricity, the same way people can access the internet, the same way people can access the email, right? So we want to put AI into the hands of everybody, and I think we are doing a good job at it. But I think there needs to be greater collaboration, and therefore for us to have conversation here, even post this event, is something that I'll be very keen about, and wanting to learn even more. It's also a learning process for us as well. We're a young company, so it's still a lot of learning involved. But again, it's about collaboration, it's about discussion, conversation, and really equipping the next generation with the tools to leverage this technology for their own use.
Yeah, thank you very much for those insights. And you mentioned about very key insight. I think one of the elements that need to be mentioned in all these implementation process is change management, right? And I think we don't think about that often, and we have discussed in many different sessions. And many folks, even government setting, public sector, change management is very new, right? In order to adapt to this, new technology, we need to really think about how the people who's going to utilize impacted by this technology, how do they feel? How they, do they have the necessary skill set to really sustain these changes, right? So that's another conversation that we can maybe take off and trying to figure out together how can we really elaborate a better change management strategy coupled with your resources, with the knowledge to make sure these youth and these communities are well equipped. Thank you for those comments.
But maybe just one addition, and this is something oftentimes I like to stress, whether today and also yesterday, is whether I'm here as the African lead or not, the technology will benefit people, right? So whether our CEO is here or not, the technology is bigger than our company. So one message that I would like to stress is that people take actually ownership of its use, right? So I love to say this because people are actually already empowered to do so. You don't have to wait for me to be here as the Africa lead because I joined 6 months and people were using this before I came on board, right?
Okay.
And many people have been doing great work already. So my mission is it's already accessible.
Well, it is a pleasure anyway having an African face, for that process. And again, this platform service, as much awareness. We are now 14 years. We are busy. Here are your services to make sure we all benefit. The great thing that you're actually putting in place. We are over time, but 1 10 seconds to each one of you to close. Right? What is your questions? Right, in terms of AI in general, when it comes to implementations and things like that. Let's start with you and finish by Dr. David here.
Yeah.
10 seconds, please, we already over. Yeah.
I think very brief is whenever I speak to students, whenever I speak to governments and educators, my key statement is actually just use it. I think let us demystify AI and people just use it to your advantage, beyond writing an email, but really just use it and play with it and use it. Yeah, key message.
My key message is going to be AI is a tool. You have to embed it in our life every day. So use it. And then add it on other things you are doing and use to plan the future. Okay.
I think I'm a bit biased towards finance. I can't really speak to the other areas, so I'm just going to focus on finance. But I think from my side, enabling better credit decisions and more inclusive lending to like thin file customers. I think AI is a tool to actually um, allow finance to be extended to everyone, not just those who have a credit profile.
So for me, from a policy perspective, you know, policymakers need to help people innovate and not stifle innovation as far as, as simple as registering a business that is working in AI, so making it easier. And then the other one is making sure that API access is affordable and accessible. So can I pay with dollars? Can I pay with CDs? Can I pay with euros? That would be preferable.
So what I would like to say is that um, enough of the conferences. The next time we come here, we are coming to demonstrate what we have been able to achieve, not just talk shop. We need to get out there, and I say AI is liberation. We have the tool that we can use to do almost everything. I was just from another panel. I told the youth that the only thing you cannot do with AI is what you cannot imagine. And I want to thank the Ministry of Communication, the director here, Digital Technology. They are on the road to transform the entire continent. They have started training their experts. We are pulling some from the military, the police, the Navy. We want to take charge and also make sure that the raw materials we have, we can turn it around using the 24-hour economic policy that His Excellency JDM has, implemented. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm going to my call to actions is really understanding and implementing AI really is no longer optional. I want everybody to understand that, right? It is no longer optional, right? It is a strategic enabler for success. Either you want it today or not. So my key call to actions, I'm going to steal a few words from, these, the ladies and gentlemen here. So use it, learn it, be curious about it, explore it. Because without that, you will not leapfrog and you will not contribute to really the future of technology innovations in our country. So again, leverage on it, learn it, use it, explore it, right, for your own success. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we wish to continue the conversations. If you have any question, please join us. Thank you.